Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name's Bob, I'll be your host. When 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons came out, the core campaign setting for it was originally Greyhawk. You can tell this because in the player's handbook, all of the gods mentioned were from Greyhawk, and they made references to places and things in Greyhawk throughout all 3 core books. They also released about the same time the campaign setting called A Living Greyhawk. And after popularity for 3rd edition grew, they started releasing other campaign settings that you could use for your Dungeons & Dragons game. When they came out with 3.5, they released everything that was the same. The core campaign setting for buying the core books was pretty much Greyhawk. But they also released a campaign setting for the classic game of Dragonlance, which is what we're going to talk about in this video. The Dragonlance campaign setting. This book has 288 pages and a copyright of 2003. It was published by Wizards of the Coast, and all of the artwork in this book is in full color, and it's really decent. So let's take a look at that artwork. All of the artwork in this book is in full color, and it's pretty decent to look at as well, giving you a good look of some of the lands that can be found in this setting, while setting a proper tone and mood for this setting as well. It even gives you a good look at some of the strange creatures that can be found in this setting, like this weirdo here. And somebody please tell me what is up with this Minotaur here. To use this book, what you're going to need is, of course, a copy of this book and a copy of the core rule books for Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 or 3rd edition, which consists of the Player's Handbook, the Dungeon Master's Guide, and the Monster's Manual. You also need a full set of dice. A full set of dice containing a 20-sided die, a 12-sided die, preferably 2 10-sided dice for rolling both percentiles and tens, an 8-sided die, a 6-sided die, and a 4-sided die. This book is pretty cool. The setting for Dragonlance takes place on the world known as Kryn, and the information in here and where you do most of your adventuring in this setting will be on the continent of Ansalon. The character creation is standard for Dungeons & Dragons 3rd or 3.5, and your core races are all represented from the Player's Handbook except for the half-orc. The humans are broken up into civilized and nomads. The dwarves are broken up into the mountain dwarves, the hill dwarves, the dark dwarves, and the gully dwarves. The elves are broken up in the give me a second, I'll get this. Kaganasti, the Quellinasti, and the Sylvanasti. I'm not sure if I pronounced those right. I'm very horrible with names. Then you have the half-elves and the sea-elves. You also have your gnomes, your kinder, which replaces the halflings. The halflings in this are called kinder, and they're a lot more childlike and curious than what you'll find in regular Dungeons & Dragons. You have centaurs. You have draconians, which for player characters is broken up into the Baz and the Kapak. You have the Irida, which is a type of ogre. You have regular ogres. You have half-ogres, and you have minotaurs. And yes, some of the races for this setting does have level adjustments, so you want to pay attention to that. The classes are all presented in this book, and it just goes over what changes may be affected for this particular campaign setting. You also get 2 new classes to add to your game, the Mystic and the Noble. Then you have a bunch of brand new prestige classes for this game. There are the Knights of Salamani, which are broken up into 3 types, which are the Knights of the Crown, the Knights of the Sword, and the Knights of the Rose. Then you have the Knights of Naraka, which are broken up into the Knights of Lily, the Knights of the Skull, and the Knights of the Thorn. You then have the Steel Legionnaires, the Wizards of High Sorcery, Dragon Riders, Inquisitors, Legendary Tacticians, and the Righteous Zealot. And that's pretty good assortment of prestige classes for your game. You also have some brand new feats which are specific for this campaign setting. You have a good explanation of how magic works, including primal sorcery, which is also referred to as wild magic. You have new clerical and mystic domains presented in this book. You have, like I said, brand new spells for everybody. You have brand new types of material that can be found in this setting, which are the dragon metal, star metal, ironwood, and the metals in this game are really weird. Gold is almost pretty much common compared to stuff like iron. So your coinage will have different values than what you'll find in other campaign settings. Silver will be worth more than gold in this setting, which is weird, but that's the way it is. It gives you some information on Dragonlances and has brand new deities for the campaign setting. It also has brand new creatures. It also has some rules on aerial combat and how to add that to your game. And it gives information on playing in different eras throughout the setting. It gives you a rundown of the different locations and sites you could see, and along with close-ups of a world map and a world map in the center of the book. It also gives you some notes on how to run the game, such as setting a mood and a tone for this game, which is pretty neat. In the very back of the book, you have a couple of adventures that you could run to get yourself started. And that's pretty much it. It's a very detailed look at Dragonlance. Gives you a lot of the history in here, so you could work with that and use it for your game. And that's pretty much all I have to say for Dragonlance right now. Brings me to 3 questions. Would I play a character in this campaign setting? Yeah, it's pretty interesting. There's a lot going on, and it would be pretty fun. Would I run this campaign setting? And yes, I would. And I have once. We played for a game session or 2, but the players were really wanting to get on to another game because that's usually what happens. And would I recommend this campaign setting? Yes, I would. There's a lot of history to Dragonlance as far as Dungeons and Dragons go. And there are a lot of Dragonlance novels out there. So, yeah, it's pretty neat. I would recommend it. At least check it out. And that's pretty much all I got to say for Dragonlance right now. Thank you for joining me at a look at this campaign setting. And hopefully you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.